I'm your host, and today we are pulling on a loose thread that has unrevealed from one of the darkest scandals of the century, the Jeffrey Epstein saga. By now, you have heard about the Epstein list, that massive trance of unsealed cold document that dropped earlier this year. The internet treated it like a bingo card of the rich and famous. We saw Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. But buried in those thousands of pages was a subplot that didn't make as many headlines in the West, but certainly sent shockwaves through New Delhi. Today, we are looking specifically at the Indian connection. What exactly do these files say about Indian nationals? And more importantly, does being named means you are guilty? Or does it mean you were in the Rolodex of a man who collected powerful people like trading cards? Let's look at the facts. First, we have to clear up a misconception. Being in these files isn't a criminal indictment. These are email, flight logs, and contact books. And Epstein was a master social climber. The most prominent Indian name to surface is industrialist Mr. Anil Ambani. The documents reveals a series of emails between 2017 and 2019. Now the context here is fascinating. It wasn't about a licked island, it was about access. The email suggests Ambani was introduced to Epstein by a Dubai based contact. Ambani appeared to be seeking Epstein help to open doors in Washington, D.C. Specifically, he wanted introductions to key figures in the Trump administration, like Steve Bannon and Jared Kushner. There's a bizarre exchange where Epstein jokes about desert, a coded term often used in his circle, and Ambani's response is essentially where when Epstein replies Hollande, referring to the former French president. The conversation fizzles. Ambani, in the other exchanges, seems to ignore the bait completely. The takeaway: it looks like a classic case of businessman trying to leverage a well connected American financier for political lobbying. It paints a picture of transactional networking and necessarily complicity in Epstein crime. Then there is the political angle as well. This is where things got heated in Parliament. The files contain an email where Epstein brags to a Qatari official. He claims that Indian Prime Minister historic visit to Israel in 2017 was actually his idea. Epstein wrote the Indian Prime Minister took advice and danced and sang in Israel for the benefit of the US President, Mr. Trump. Now let's pause. Did Jeffrey Epstein actually advise the Prime Minister of India on foreign policy? The Indian Ministry of External Affairs didn't mince words. Their spokesperson called these claims, and I quote, "thrashy ramifications of a convicted criminal." And honestly, that tracks. Epstein was a pathological liar who constantly inflated his influence to impress other elites. He was selling the idea of power, claiming the orchestrate a geopolitical shift between India and Israel is exactly the kind of tall tale a common tells to look important. But the files also touched on current officials. Hardeep Singh Puri, a senior Indian minister, was mentioned in emails from 2014 and 2015. At the time, Puri was not in office. He was a former diplomat. The emails discuss his facilitating a visit to India for Reid Hoffman and the LinkedIn co-founder. Puri admitted to meeting Epstein at his Manhattan townhouse, but clarified these were strictly work-related meetings during his time as a private citizen. Again, it highlights how deep Einstein tentacles reached into the global elite society calendar. We also saw the rumor mill churn. Bollywood director Anurag Kashyap found his name floating around on social media list. He had to come out and categorically deny every meeting Epstein has with him, stating he gets hundreds of random invites. It's a stark reminder of how dangerous these lists can be when context is stripped away. So, what is the verdict on the Indian connection? If we are looking for a smoking gun linking Indian leadership to Epstein horrific crimes, these files don't provide it. What they do provide is a map how the world worked in 2010s. They show us a world where a sex offender was able to position himself as a gatekeeper to American power. Businessmen from Mumbai and diplomats from Delhi walked through his doors not because they knew what was happening in the back rooms, but because Epstein had convinced the world that he was the guy who had to know to get things done. It's a lesson in the blindness of the elite. The tragedy isn't just the crimes Epstein committed. It's that for years, the most powerful people on the planet, from New York to New Delhi, were willing to overlook the whispers because their networking was just too good to pass up. That's it for the deep dive. If you want to see the breakdown of the specific email mentioned today, check the show notes. I am Vikrant Chaudhary, and this has been the Global Thread. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon in the very next episode of mine. Stay tuned and live healthy. Thank you.